Back on the Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 on the FM dial. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick, and we're pleased to welcome in one of our favorites, the head coach of the Northwestern State Demon baseball team. He is Bobby Barbier, on his way to Arlington, Texas, as the Demons will be playing the Oklahoma Sooners in a 3-game series in Globe Life Stadium in Arlington. Bobby, how are you, brother?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
Ed West.
I'm good. The first question is, are you doing barbecue with me on Sunday for lunch?
How far do we need to go from the hotel?
It shouldn't be that far, because I've got a place in Arlington in mind.
Okay, I know you. You'll drive 6 hours to the barbecue. So I'm not really interested in that. But if we're in 20 minutes, I'm in.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've got a bunch of places. Look, Dallas has become quite a hotbed of barbecue here in the last couple of years. Matter of fact, the number one place on the entire top 50 list is in Fort Worth. So, but yeah, we got a place in Arlington. We got a place in Arlington that we got scoped out. So.
The rare 5:30 Sunday game allowed me to do that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty excited. Hey, before we get into where your team is and kind of talking about your team in general, kind of walk us through how this all came about. You're scheduled to play in Norman this weekend against OU. Kind of walk me through how the decision was made to end up moving this thing to Globe Life Stadium in Arlington.
Yeah, so I guess maybe Sunday evening after the SFA game, somebody told me, it's going to be freezing in Norman. I said, well, I kind of figured that. And they said, no, it's going to be freezing. And not long after that, their operations guy called me, and we talked through it. And he said, I got to call on the Globe Life, but I don't know if just on Sunday. Because Sunday it warmed up some. And, he called me about 6 hours later, said, I think we got a chance to play at Globe Life. You guys are interested? I said, well, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're interested, let's get it worked out. Want to play at a beautiful ballpark or, and climate controlled or freezing cold weather in Oklahoma. So, it'll be a lot of fun for the guys. I've never coached or played in the big league ballpark, so it'll be fun for me too. It'll be a neat experience.
Yeah, I almost texted our boy Jason Pugh, the SID and baseball contact. It's not the first time that NSU has played in a professional stadium. You do have the Southland tournament in a quote-unquote professional stadium every year. But a big league ballpark, certainly. Top of he mentioned the FedEx Forum, and the last time the Demons played Memphis over at the FedEx Forum. So is there a kind of a Hoosiers-like feel to this? Do you have to go in and measure from home plate to the rubber, or how do you go in and kind of get, I guess, some of the wide-eyed out of your guys when they walk in and this is a major league ballpark that they're probably most of them for the first time ever stepping foot in, especially on the field?
Well, I think you know me well enough that we're not going to hide from it. I'm going to let them enjoy it a little bit, and I think that's when you do stuff like this and you go play at these nice parks, I think you approach it as, hey man, let's enjoy this. Let's understand what it is, and then let's do what we came here to do and compete really hard. We play in a lot of different style parks in our league and in our non-conference schedule, from parks that maybe aren't as good, and to now this one that's really nice. So I think we just need to understand. We need to see it for what it is and really enjoy it, enjoy the fact, and be grateful for being there, but then understand that we're there to compete really hard for 3 straight days.
Yeah, you're not – I can't imagine – I'm trying to think, Bobby, the last time you played at a venue that had a second deck in the outfield.
I don't know.
You go to Nichols and you play, and it's soybeans as far as the eye can see out the outfield. There's not even a seat in the outfield. Oh, sorry, sugarcane. You're correct, sugarcane.
I only know that because I used to live on one of those sugarcane fields.
There you go. No, you're correct. It is sugarcane out there. So I've got to imagine, if nothing else, Bobby, the sight lines are going to be kind of odd, right? Because you're not used to having 2 decks worth of seats out there. Even when you go to play in the conference tournament or you go play at LSU, right? There's seating out there, but it's not double-decker seating, and there's not signage everywhere in the outfield. I imagine, just if nothing else, those sight lines are going to be interesting.
It will be, and it's I talked to a few people who've played there fairly recently, and they said the same thing. It does take a little getting used to, and we don't get to practice there today like we normally would during one of these deals because they had some kind of season ticket holder event going on. But whatever. We're going to go a little early tomorrow, take a little extra time during batting practice, and kind of feel it out a little bit to hopefully get a little used to it before the game starts.
Well, and Oklahoma has an advantage because, correct me if I'm wrong, they've already played there this year, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking about Oklahoma having advantages, they probably got a few more than they haven't played there.
Right,
this year.
Right. Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Well,
But
just being truthful.
right, but that being said, it's not like you don't have guys that are capable. I mean, you've beaten LSU the last two years in a row, so it's not like you don't have guys that aren't capable of playing up to that level. Your guys went to Notre Dame several years ago and took 2 of 3 from the Irish up there. Tell me a little bit about kind of where you think your squad is. Obviously, it's early. You've only had 3 games. You didn't get a midweek this week. But what's the early read for you on where your guys are 3 games in?
Well, I really like opening weekend. I like the feel of it. It's so hard to get that feel of competing against somebody else. You get a little fall game, and it's everybody runs out there, and it's not really the same. But I did like the feel of it. I like the feel of the dugout. I think we ran a bunch of guys out that have never played Division I baseball before, or at least not for us. And I thought we had to do some good things, some bad things, and I think we'll get better. I think those guys we started a couple freshmen opening night that you could see get better as the weekend went on, and they will continue, and they're extremely talented, and they'll continue to be that way. So I'm very pleased with how we competed, and just got to keep getting better throughout the season.
And your weekend rotation is solid. Cal Carver, your Friday night guy, Jonathan Harmon, who is listed as the number 1 prospect out of the entire Southland Conference. Drayton Brown, who you had in a closer role, who was lights out last year as a closer, now moving into that starting frame. I'd imagine, as they always say, you're only as good as your next night's starter. I would feel like you've got to be pretty comfortable with those 3 guys going out there, at least after week 1.
Yeah, I would say comfortable is a really good word for it. It's comforting knowing you got guys that have pitched in those type of innings throughout their careers here. We've got a few guys in the bullpen that pitched for the first time, and that the reason we're able to move somebody like Drayton to the starting role is because we trust those guys too. Guys like Andrew Casio, who's another big prospect type guy, and in the Southland Conference that just got an electric arm and just gotten better since he's been here. So we trust those guys in the back end too, and just trying to establish some roles. The first weekend we don't use the bullpen as a true bullpen. We kind of piggyback because those starters are so short leash, and we don't let them go more than 70, 80 pitches. So now this weekend, the first weekend, we'll actually use them as a true bullpen, do some matchup things, maybe bring somebody back from Friday to Sunday, type deal. So it'll be neat to see their roles start to be established.
Tell me about, I mentioned Jonathan Harmon is listed as the top prospect coming out of the league. He's your Saturday guy. Tell me about him and why he's considered as highly as he is.
Well, Jonathan, he had a great summer last summer and just a training summer, and came back throwing really hard the fall. He run his fastball for 96 miles an hour, as a starter. It's pretty impressive. He's actually been sick and lost a bunch of weight, so he probably hasn't been that exactly. But he fought through it. It was pretty impressive this last weekend. For him to give us 5 innings after losing 12 to 15 pounds from being sick, and it was fun to see him fight through that. Something that career had been tougher for him, when he didn't have his best stuff. So he's made a little name for himself, and hopefully get a few guys out to come watch him, and he's hopefully the next pitcher, drafted, that we've had. We've had quite a few here in the last few years, so hopefully he's the next one.
Bobby Barbier, head coach for the Northwestern State Demon baseball team, on their way to Arlington to take on Oklahoma in a 3-game series. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Nebraska and TCU playing. Y'all are kind of doing double headers a little bit this weekend with Nebraska TCU?
Yeah. They already had 3 games scheduled there. So, the fact that the folks over there are working with us, and they're going to pull long hours, I'm sure. It's phenomenal. You know, that's one thing that Oklahoma, you know, and during off this whole thing, they just kept talking about how great the people at Globe Life were and how they're welcoming they are. And that's, you know, a lot of times you go play in a professional stadium, they, you know, they kind of look at you as outcasts a little bit. But I've heard nothing but great things about these folks.
Do you go watch any of that? Any of Nebraska TCU? I mean, do you try to pick anything up? Do you know any of those guys? Kind of what, you know, is what's your flavor when you've got two really good baseball programs right there, you know, playing around the same time you are?
Yeah, I think what we plan on tomorrow taking a team out, the guys that want to go watch. We're actually working on to see if we can get some cheap tickets. So if you got a contact, let me know.
Okay.
But I think we're going to take them out after our game, and I think just watching good baseball, I mean, it helps you improve. You know, I think a lot of our guys, you know, been watching the games on TV. College baseball has grown so much. You know, I could from my living room picked about 15 different games to watch last night on ESPN Plus. I watched the one that went on in North Louisiana, but you know, I could have picked a bunch of them. And I think that just makes you better, just seeing other teams and you know, seeing what good players look like and how they play and certain things you can improve on.
Offensively, obviously, Dante Stewart, we know about him, your second baseman. He's been phenomenal since he's been at NSU. But what are you looking at around Dante and you know, who have you seen maybe in the first weekend? Were there any surprises or you know, did it kind of go the way you thought it would go offensively?
You know, Larson was really good. Larson Fontenot.
Sure.
He leads off for us, and Dante hits behind him. When he gets on base, he's going to score a ton of runs. I mean, Dante's just a special hitter. You know, we had a freshman named Gray Rowlett, had a really good weekend from Dallas. He got to start at first base and never hadn't looked back yet. You know, he's a big physical kid, 6'4", that can really run. He's going to be a really good player for us. And we hit a couple homers. You know, Cam Sibley hit a big homer for us. Bo Willis hit a big homer for us, who's one of our catchers. And we've had some guys who played a few different lineups. You know how I like to do, play a few different ones.
Sure.
Early, especially, and before we get settled on one. So it was good to see some guys that had some good at bats over the weekend. I think we came out hitting 290 or so as a team, which I think is pretty good off the pitching staff. But I thought SFA really executed pitches against us all weekend long.
You know, transfers, JUCO kids have always been a big part of college baseball. Every year you get a big influx. Now, not necessarily the case at the huge programs. You know, LSU may fit a guy or two here from the JUCO ranks. But for the most part, at your level, a lot of guys that you bring in that already have some collegiate experience. I'm curious, what, if anything, has the new transfer rule and the transfer portal changed, or has it at all for what you do and at the level that you're at?
Well, we're always going to look for the best players available. We don't really have a set, you know, we want to bring in this many junior college, this many high school, this many transfers. We got one transfer last year. We got a kid named Bryce Holmes, and he hits our 3-hole. I mean, he's from Sam Houston. We signed his brother named Brock, who hit in our 4-hole all weekend out of junior college, and Bryce wanted to come play with his brother, and they're both really good hitters, and we're very, very fortunate to have them. So that it has worked out really well for us when it comes to him. But you know, some teams brought in 10 or 12 transfers, and I don't think we'll ever be that way. I do think that we need to. It's a tool that we can use, and we need to use it for sure. But I don't think it'll be a huge number, because we're big on development. And we want to develop these freshmen that we have in. We don't want a revolving door of guys coming in and out every year. So I think we need to use it as a tool, but also understand who we are.
Does that then concern you on the opposite end, on the flip side of you develop a kid that maybe everyone overlooked, and all of a sudden he's hitting the portal to go to an LSU or go to a bigger program? Is that something that concerns you as this moves forward?
Sure, of course. I think, if you look across our league, we've probably lost 6 out of the 10 or 12 best players in the league to transfer portal last year, and it's tough. It's tough seeing good players go, and I just think that your job as a coach, player retention is a big deal now, where that really wasn't a deal. You know, it was always player acquisition, acquiring players and developing players, and now retaining them is important, and trying to find that line of, holding guys accountable and doing the things that we need to do as coaches, but also I got to have a good experience, and that was important to us to begin with. So maybe that's why we haven't lost a bunch in the past 2 years. But I think some schools are seeing that it needs to be the players need to have a good experience at their place.
All right, last thing. You told me you'd let me call pitches for the game on Sunday when I'm coming over. I don't necessarily need to do that. Maybe offer some insight. But if I come down in the dugout, am I going to get ostracized? Y'all going to throw me out immediately for being an outsider? Like what do I need to sweep up seeds or something? How do I earn my keep if I want to come be in the dugout?
Well, you have to wear a uniform.
Oh,
first of all,
do you have a 3X floating around?
Well, we're gonna have to make whatever we have work.
I mean, do you stitch two jerseys together to find one for me?
We can make it work, no doubt about it. Well, no, man, you're always welcome. You know that.
Oh yeah.
So,
well,
we'll be down there. Come see us.
I'll at least be down on the field for batting practice. I can tell you that, because that's cool. It's just an opportunity to see a major league park from down on the field. You don't get that opportunity every day, so why not take advantage of it? Hey, Bobby, congrats on the good start, and best of luck to y'all coming up this weekend. A big, fun one over in Arlington, and hope y'all go get a win.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right, Bobby Barbier, head coach of the Northwestern State Demons.